Ever since Ultra Instinct was confirmed in Dragon Ball Super episode 110, everyone watching this video has at one point locked their rooms and attempted to dodge imaginary punches, pretending like you had Ultra Instinct. And don't you dare lie to me, I know you done it. And now you've probably convinced yourself that Ultra Instinct was impossible to achieve in the real world. But cheer up my brothers and sisters, because in this video, I'm going to teach you how you too can achieve Ultra Instinct in the real world using science. So hola mi gente, my name is Upai Senpai, and welcome to Dragon Ball Science, the show that might save your life if you're ever in a fight. Today, I'm going to dissect and break down the hidden truth behind Ultra Instinct, thanks to my good friend and team Madaman on Twitter, who is a doctor and researcher in the field of neurology. Every explanation of Migate no Gokui, which translates to Ultra Instinct, has come directly from Universe 7 Angel Whis. And it wasn't just in the anime. We get additional information in Chapter 2 of Revival of F manga and in the Dragon Ball Z Resurrection of F movie. Let's first look at Dragon Ball Super episode 18 of the anime, where Whis explains, "You completely lack speed. It's because you're both thinking before you act, so your speed is being limited. It takes time for your senses and brain commands to reach your bodies, so you need to teach every part of your body to respond on their own." The Dragon Ball Z Resurrection F movie adds additional information as Whis says, "Messages can only travel through your nervous system so fast, so you rely on thoughts for physical actions. You lose precious fighting time." Whis is talking about sending signals to the brain and back to the body. Science tells us that the average time it takes for your brain to send signals to your body is about 20 to 30 milliseconds to the upper extremity, and between 35 to 50 milliseconds to the lower extremity. This may not sound like a long time, but when you're talking about Dragon Ball Super, 20 to 50 milliseconds can make the difference between winning or getting killed. Our brain sends a signal to our spinal cord, which sends a signal through the nerve to a muscle to move a specific part of our bodies. These times have been scientifically measured, and it has been reproduced in several studies that are published today in peer-reviewed journals from the most respected scientists in the world. We can stimulate regions of the brain using transcranial magnetic stimulation and move specific regions of the body like a thumb or a toe. The time from stimulation to movement is the latency. However, this is not the case for all movements. Sometimes, the spinal cord can send a signal to a muscle directly without using the brain. By the way, if you're enjoying this video so far, please do me a huge favor and smash that like button on the face. And if you're new to the channel, subscribe and spirit bomb that notification bell so you don't miss out on the next episode of Dragon Ball Science. Now, additional explanation of Ultra Instinct can be seen on Chapter 2 of the Revival of F manga, as Whis states, "By the time sensations pass through your 5 senses to your brain and are then transmitted back to your body, precious time has been lost." Ideally, what you want is for each part of your body to react, to respond, and move on its own accord. Unfortunately, this is not an easy task. When Whis talks about it's because you're both thinking before you act, he does not mean to tell you to stop thinking entirely. The brain is always thinking whether you like it or not. You do not have a choice in the matter. It's a natural part of being alive. Even in a coma, there is small electrical activity of the brain. Thinking is still needed to respond and react to your environment and surroundings. Now, you probably know that there are 5 senses to your body: sight, sound, smell, taste, and touch. Many people believe instinct to be a 6th sense, but let me debunk that right now by explaining that instinct is essentially your brain's processing of information to predict a future response based on probability, and therefore, instinct is not a true 6th sense since it is dependent on the other 5 senses. A true sense is completely independent from the other senses. In Dragon Ball, the 6th sense has been established as sensing ki. Ki is energy with a unique frequency and an amplitude, which is strength. The frequency varies with each individual, which is why every ki is slightly different. Ki is emitted from the body just like the sun emits sunlight. This is felt by others as kinetic energy or heat, or as mechanical vibrations, which is the exact same way that we can feel heat emitting from sunlight. The process of sensing ki was actually explained by Mr. Popo in Dragon Ball episode 131. Mr. Popo uses a blindfold and tries to catch Goku. The episode showed Mr. Popo's ki projecting or radiating from him, trying to lock onto Goku's ki. If the opponent ki is very strong, then it will also radiate far and hence will be easy to sense, which also explains why Goku requires locking into a strong ki to travel large distances over instinct transmission. In converse, if the opponent's ki is too small or is being suppressed, it won't radiate as far, and hence you have to use your own ki to radiate further to find that person. This relationship can be further demonstrated by Coulomb's law or Newton's law of universal gravitation. Coulomb's law relates two charged particles, while Newton's law related two masses. In both cases, the force is proportional to the inverse square of the distance. That is, the further away you are, the force decreases by 1 over r to the power of 2, where r is the distance. In Dragon Ball Super, fighters have learned to suppress their ki, as seen with people like Hit and the Trio D Dangers. When Lavender blindfolded Gohan during the exhibition match, Gohan couldn't sense his ki, so that's 2 out of 6 senses gone. Gohan had to use his ki of touch to react to Lavender as soon as he felt something and use his ears to hear Lavender's footsteps. But then Lavender got smarter and flew to the sky so that Gohan couldn't hear his footsteps, and then he used Ki Blast so that Gohan couldn't use touch. That is 4 out of 6 senses gone. And Gohan can't obviously use smell or taste, so that's 6 out of 6 senses gone. There is nothing left. In the last resort, Gohan brilliantly used the radiance of his own ki by turning into a Super Saiyajin and reflected his ki off Lavender to the tech where he is. Out of the 5 senses, there is only one sense in which the brain does not always need to be involved, where thinking is not required. Vision, smell, taste, and hearing must all go to the brain to be processed, but sometimes touch does not require the brain. This makes a lot of sense because while the eyes, nose, tongue, and ears are all on the head, the skin is located far from the brain in certain areas. Hence, it makes anatomical sense that we evolved in a way that would allow the body to react without processing in the brain, which will take much longer. There are spinal reflexes in which sensation of touch can be sent to the spinal cord and back to a muscle to move. An example of this is a stretch reflex, one of the fastest reflexes in the human body, such as a knee-jerk reflex, which travels at a speed of 15 to 20 milliseconds. Now, this is all fine and dandy, but unfortunately, none of these reflexes actually help in fighting. To fight, your brain must be involved and it must send a signal to different muscles of your body to punch, kick, dodge, etc. None of those are true reflexes. To dodge a punch, your eyes must see it. The image of that punch has to be processed into your brain, and the decision has to be made whether to block, dodge, parry, or anything else. It is the time which takes a human to decide what action to take. That, my friends, is the time that Whis is referring to when he says not to waste time. The time it takes for your brain to send signals to your muscles cannot be faster than what is naturally, unless you modify the actual conductance properties of the nerves themselves. That is, fighters have to make decisions faster. So if we still need the brain to think, can we reproduce reaction time and still teach our body and muscles to react on their own? You may be surprised to learn that you actually can by practicing a specific response to a specific stimulus over and over again. This is how fighters use Ultra Instinct in the real world, which they just call instinct. This is what is done in martial arts, where a single move is practiced thousands of times until the move becomes instinctive. even if that move is simple like a punch. The reason this works scientifically is because the brain is forming synapses between neurons and hardwiring this specific movement. Normally, the first time you learn something, the brain sends a signal between neurons, but the strength of the connection between neurons is very weak. The more you do it, however, the stronger that connection becomes until it is natural or feels instinctive. This is how memory is encoded into our brain. The notion of muscle memory is false and a complete myth. In reality, the muscles themselves do not contain any sort of muscle memory. Only your brain can. However, the term muscle memory developed because through practice, reaction time was faster, which gave the illusion that one is not thinking and is just reacting. You're still thinking, as the brain still needs to send signals to your muscles to move. The only difference is that it's a lot faster. You cannot train your body to create new spinal reflexes. The spinal reflexes are fixed and decided by your DNA. Even so, Ultra Instinct is certainly something you can achieve in the real world by practicing a move over and over and over again until that move becomes instinctive to your body. This is part of the reason why even a God of Destruction has such a hard time mastering Ultra Instinct. In the case of Beerus, he normally sleeps for decades or even centuries, but had to wake up 39 years earlier in order to face the Super Saiyajin Goto that he dreamed about. With that much sleep, Beerus has lost much of the instinct that he previously developed from training. But Goku, on the other hand, spends most of his time training. Therefore, even though he is a mortal, he was able to eventually achieve Ultra Instinct during his lifetime. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you've learned something new today, please smash that like button. And if you're new to the channel, join me, my brothers and sisters, punch that subscribe button to the face and smash the notification bell so that you guys don't miss out on the next episode of Dragon Ball Science. Click on the left to see the most recent video on the channel and click on the right to see a bonus video, and I will see you guys tonight.
Subscribe to Anime Live Reactions for more. Share this video with your friends.